know I'm doing this. I'm just saying it in my head. And so just to open up and expand for what more is possible. So back to my business bank account example, back to me running my business and feeling like I'm growing and expanding and hitting a wall and growing and expanding and hitting a wall. When I looked at my bank account, I would simply say, okay, what more is possible? As I started to really, really play with that, listen, that wall that I felt, I could feel it energetically. That wall, it disappeared. There was nothing for me to fight. There was nothing for me to fix. It dissolved. It completely disappeared because guess what? Guess what my eyes are looking for? My eyes are looking for the antenna signal I'm putting out is what more is possible. So I'm doing my budget. I'm looking at my bottom line numbers 2 months in advance. I'm not strategizing in that moment exactly how I'm going to bring in the money by those particular dates. I'm not doing any of that. And my eyes are glazing over my bottom line numbers in my budget. It doesn't require very much time or energy of me as I'm seeing what my future goals are, and I lean into what more is possible. Then what starts to happen, it's almost like it feels like my life transitioned from being just a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress, especially when it came to our finances, we almost lost everything. And it transitioned to feel more like an adventure, like, oh my gosh, really truly from the perspective of, oh my gosh, I'm not smart enough to figure this out, but what more is possible? What more is possible? And I then step back, and then my eyes are attuned to what more is possible. My ears are attuned to what more is possible. I step back, and then I look to see there's this invisible bridge that just started to be created in front of my feet, and I would just put one foot in front of the other, and it would be this transition from where I was in that moment to basically where I wanted to go, the goals that I had personally, and then also for my business. So there's so much power, Matthew, and it's what more is possible. And I just really encourage you and your listeners to just try this. I put it in my calendar in the morning on repeat. I put it in the evening on repeat so I wouldn't, forget to ask it, especially in the beginning. And what ended up happening is this transition happens and you just become like at your deepest level possible, what more is possible, and things open up and expand in ways you could never imagine.
Wow, that's great. I love that. What more is possible? I found that a lot of times that when I'm working with people, and I'm sure you feel this too, as I could be coaching people on their media message or creating a video, but a lot of it comes down to mindset. So much of what I do is mindset work, even though that's not why I was hired, but we need to get to the place where we can have that solid foundation, which is mindset. And then from there, we can build upon it. So what I found is that many people's minds are set. And that's really the tough thing that's keeping people stuck. And so what I liked is when you and I were working together, you shared this with me. And this one phrase, what more is possible, opened up so much for me. So I appreciate that. But I do have another question for you. Some of the people I've worked with in the past have had huge financial successes. And then they have these big slumps or drops. They split with a partner, or they got a divorce, or something major happened to their life or their business. Something has happened with their family, or they blew all their money. And they thought that money was going to last forever, so they blew everything like MC Hammer. What would you say to people who have to make that comeback, or they're thinking about it, and they have that mindset of they lost big, right? And their mindset is they were a big failure. And there's some people that it's really hard for them to recover from this because they want to be real, right? They want to come out and they want to help people. They have gotten consistent results for people in the past, but they've had something, sometimes a tragedy, sometimes it's just, things happen. Sometimes their business failed just because of poor investments or poor use of their money. They really want to help people. They can help people. What do you say to those people that want to make that comeback and serve people again?
That's a really good point. And I think that the most important, the best way to answer that question, and this is why the what more is possible why the whole concept is so important, because we do not want for our bank accounts, we don't want for the budget to become this glass ceiling over where we are. And especially when you've had success at that level, and then you're at that point of we talked about feast or famine, and you're at that famine piece, and you're just like, man, I know how to do this, but there's a switch that happened, and how can I get back? How can I bring that back? How can I grow my company back at that level? But there's this significant amount of guilt, number one. There's a significant amount of shame because there is this element of, well, I should be better financially now because of that. And actually, I'm in worse condition than when I was before. And so to answer that, when we look at that bank account, we have to make decisions from it. And this is why the budget process is so important. We've got to make decisions based on cash flow. We're not going to make decisions based on projections or pie in the sky things. What is in the bank account is really what we can spend. But we can't get sucked into that, because that bank account in this moment right now, it is only reflecting basically the thought process up to this moment. It's not projecting where you're going to be. And if we just get so sucked into what the bank account is as of right now, we're pretty much done. And so what I love, right? I love about the power of the what more is possible, because instead, and you can change those words. Like I said, there's nothing magical about those words. You could ask, how could it be more? How could it be more? But the secret is that it is a question. That question will unhook the mind. And basically, I said originally that this is almost a trick to the mind, because Matthew, what we're doing, we have to feed the mind something. If we don't feed the mind something, we think we're going to live under a bridge, by the time, in the next 10 years. Or I hear that a lot from my clients, or I hear I'm just not good with numbers. I'm like, well, you don't need to be good with numbers. That's fine, because the budget will do all the work for you. And, the calculations for you. We don't want to have to spend time with a calculator in hand figuring this stuff out. But really leaning into your question, find out what question really anchors in for you. How can it be more? I'm just kind of looking behind me, and okay, this is a really super cool question. So I kind of play around with these questions as well. This is a question which is, how much fun can I have in creating this? So do you feel, Matthew, like there's a completely different level of energy, rather than looking at a bank account thinking, where did it all go? I'm such a failure. But if instead you look at the, how much fun can I have in creating this? And, or another question that's super duper cool, it is, what is my next easy step? What is my next easy step? And so these are questions above and beyond looking at that bank account, right? Above and beyond looking at the budget, but just even business goals in general as well. If you just think about what is my next easy step and just focus on that one step and just accomplish that one step, well, then guess what? Then you say, okay, what is my next easy step? And you just continually follow the, what is my next easy step? And there's that invisible bridge. It starts to open up in front of you, because in this moment, we're not looking for the mind to strategize exactly how you're going to transform that bank account in this moment, because the mind can only take you where you've been. And although you've had, tremendous success in the past, you're not experiencing that in this moment, right? Because you're looking at your bank account and there's a big old disconnect. So we want to feed the mind something and literally act as if it is your new part-time job. And every time there's that fear, that guilt, and the shame, breathe it in, feel it, and then you go into what more is possible, or you just fill in the blank with what that next question is. So you can continue to start to open up and expand where there is not on any level that your body wants to do that. The mind is meant to keep us safe, and I would say it's meant to keep us stuck. And so once again, we're not looking for the answer from the mind. We're looking for something. This is kind of the way it feels. It's like in the middle of the night, you just have this thought that just comes to you out of the blue. You wake up in the morning. It's that first thought of the morning. It's this phone call that you get. I mean, it's just this odd stuff that kind of happens, but it gets your attention because the antenna signal you are putting out is, oh my gosh, I have, $125 in my bank account. How in the world am I going to make it on this? You're going to go down that quicksand, and and then that will be the end at that point in time, because you're going to need a nap after that, and you're not going to have any energy to open up and expand because you're getting sucked down into that quicksand. So you just lean into what more is possible. What is my next easy step? Lean into whatever that question is. That is going to be the tool to transform this. And I got to the point in my life when I started to learn this concept. I just got to the point in my life, I said, you know what? I'm going to ask this dang question until I just start to see results. And after 2 days, my mind was saying, Sonja, my mind it started to freak my mind out. It's like, Sonja, where are the results? Where are the results? Where are the results? And I just said, you know what, and so there's my mind panicking. My mind wants to keep me safe. It's saying, you don't have time to ask this question. Are you going to have time to even talk to clients? Sonia, you're asking this question a lot. And so what's my mind doing? It's starting to panic. It's starting to freak out because the potential of the what more is possible, the potential of this question, it can take me to a place that I've never been before. Hallelujah. Thank goodness, right? Because I didn't want to stay stuck. I didn't want to continue to feel that wall. I'd grow, expand, hit a wall, grow, hit, expand. Like, where's this wall? Every time I turned it, I was hitting it, and it just dissolved it. But the secret is to go to the question.
I love it. Our guest today is Sonja Palomino. Sonja, I just want to end with one or two questions here. The first question I have for you is, what is the main result you help people get in their business and personal life?
I always say the main result, people come to me, the societally accepted reason is for a budget. What they don't realize is they're going to get an absolute transformation. So I would say that's my heart. I don't want to get out of bed to create a budget for anyone. I just don't. Though just for some reason, this is just where I get fired up, though, is when I know that the budget is going to be the tool to transformation. And so I get to work with that on a numeric perspective. I get to see freedom. I get to see my business owners running a business for the very first time in their lives. I get to see them go through very scary timeframes and get to the other side, feeling empowered with regards to their finances. So in one word, it would be transformation. And it's just that transformation really deep down in their spirits, because what I find is that I am fired up about the budget because that's just the tool that I use to get someone to a transformation. And we each have our own sort of programs and things that we use people. But I find that if we don't have that budget as that very foundational tool, we're not building on a very solid financial foundation. We really don't have a foundation at all. We have to be really good as business owners, not only doing what we do very well, we have to manage the back end money. If we can't manage the money, then we will be forced to, and this is so sad to my heart, being an entrepreneur and knowing what entrepreneurs, we will be forced to work for somebody else that can manage it. And I just say, you know what, let us be the ones that can manage it, and let us be the ones that can rock our programs as well. We can do both. But you have to have a solid system underneath your feet to free you up in order to do that. So Matthew, I'd say transformation, so you have clarity, you have a sense of ease, you have a sense of peace when it comes to your finances. So that way, we don't spend a lot of time on finances. The ultimate goal is to get you back to life.
I love it. My last question for you is, who is your ideal client? Who do you serve? What is the situation that they're in that you feel that you can help the most?
Who do I serve? I serve people that are ready. And I do not drag anyone through this process. I am very vocal that there is a financial element to the investment. There is an emotional level into the investment, and certainly there's a time element as well. But what I find is that my clients have already spent more money on not doing this process through mismanagement and blinking through dollars and just having this budget that isn't living and breathing. It doesn't have the pulse, so that way they're able to know exactly where they are and what those future goals are very quickly. This process we don't need a weekend retreat to do this, you guys. It is a very quick process. Literally on the very first call, you're getting that information. And so the first call of the 2 months of unlimited support is how my program is. And so we just want to make sure that I want to make sure that it is someone that is ready. So it's a 30-minute complimentary consultation. And the purpose of that consultation is so I can get a pulse to see where someone is. So I can give that person 3 customized recommendations. So I can light a fire underneath that person's feet. It's okay, now, these are the recommendations. This is what I'd recommend. Go do this. And then if that person, oh, by the way, wants to team up with me, it gives us this opportunity to have that opportunity to do that, to work through this together so I can lift that weight off of their shoulders. So honestly, I look for someone that is ready, someone that doesn't have a window completely closed, because I don't drag anybody through this process. I want to make sure that there's this, although there's a lot of weight and overwhelm and fear or anxiety with regards to the finances, and it's really a scary process to move forward with. It takes a certain kind of brave. I'll just kind of be totally honest with you. But there's this sense of hope. There's this sense of maybe I am doing something that could be adjusted and to literally transform my finances. Is it worth that investment? Because everything else that you're going to do in the business will be built off of that. And my goodness, let's get this foundation locked in place And it's actually a really simple system. Let's get it locked in place so that way you are in control and nobody else. And the whole goal is that when we're through with the 2 months, you have been transformed. And like I said, I'm over 9,000